Good evening, everybody, and welcome to our first of our orientation workshops, getting ready for this fall. The first one is focusing on residential life, and we've got a couple experts in that field from our residential life area that are here to join us and give us a little clue into what it looks like to live in our residence halls, and also to answer some of your questions. So what I'd like to do very quickly before we go is to have a quick word of prayer. Heavenly Father, thank you for a few minutes that we could get together as a PUC family and just talk about the future and talk about PUC. We love you so much, Lord. In your name I pray, amen. All right, just a few housekeeping things for everybody. Thank you for everyone that's joined. We've got about 67 of you that are in the attendee field, which is pretty great. Welcome. There is a Q&A section in the Zoom chat here or in the Zoom session meeting here that you can put some questions in there, and we'll answer those as we go along, and also do again a Q&A session at the end. So what I would like to do is to start it up with our residence hall deans. Juan, start us up. Tell us a little about residence life and who you are, introduce yourself, and who's with us.
All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Juan Hidalgo, or Dean Hidalgo. I'm one of the deans at Pacific Union College, specifically in Newton Hall. But as the guy side, we kind of cover all the dorms, and as the girl side, you'll see we're everywhere. We're not just limited to one dorm, but yeah. So I'm Dean Hidalgo. Nice to meet you, and my friend is going to introduce herself. Or not.
Oh. So I am Becca Seibert, better known as Dean Seibert. I am the Dean of Winning Hall at PUC, so I am excited to kind of walk you guys through a little bit about what it's like to be in the dorms, and specifically what you need to do to prepare to move into the dorms in the fall.
Dean Philpott, I see you down there. Why don't you introduce yourself? I know you're on the road, but tell us who you are.
Hi there, everyone. Welcome to our PUC Town Hall. I'm Dean Philpott. I am the Director of Residential Life, and I'm also the Dean of Andre Hall. So many of you have requested to be in my building, so now you get to put a face to some emails. So very glad to have you on the call. We're hoping to give you a lot of answers. A lot of you have similar answers and questions and just things you really want to know and you're a little bit nervous. So that's what we're here for tonight. So I'm going to let Dean Hidalgo and Dean Seibert just walk us through some of the questions and things that you might have.
All right, so I think, JR, you're controlling the slides, is that correct? Okay, excellent. All right, so I'm just going to introduce you here a little bit to our dean family. So you've met 3 of us. There are 3 additional deans that you will meet in your time at PUC. You'll see the one right in the middle, that's Dean Christy Horn. She's the Dean of McReynolds Hall. Down at the bottom on the left-hand side, you'll see Dean Granados. He's the Dean of Newton Hall as well as Dean Hidalgo. And then finally in the bottom corner, you'll see Dean Ringer, and he's the Dean of Granger Hall. So we have 2 men's residence halls and 3 women's residence halls at PUC, and yeah, we're excited to have you guys with us. But each one of those dorms is fairly similar. You know, the room sizes are fairly similar. All the furniture that you'll receive is the same. You know, you get the same amount of beds and desks and all of those things. But they're all slightly different in regard to just their overall feel. We have a lot of different activities we'll talk about in a little bit. But Dean Hidalgo, why don't you tell us a little bit about what specifically is in a dorm room?
Okay, so when you show up on your first day, when you sign into the dorm, what do you expect from your room? What's going to be in the room for you already? Here's a list. It's very basic. 2 beds. You're gonna have your own bed. You don't get 2 beds. Sorry, some of you probably want 2 beds, but you'll have your own bed. You'll have a roommate. There will be 2 dressers, 1 for each of you, 2 closets, 2 desks, and then a sink and a mirror in every room. And the furniture between the dorms may look a little bit different depending. We kind of all have our own color schemes and own fashion statements, so they might look a little bit different, but that's the basic what's going to be in every single one of the rooms. And these are just some ideas of how some of the students in the past have set up their rooms, but these are actual rooms. This on the bottom, this is Andre Hall, I believe, and then on the top right, Hall.
So I will add, I believe that top one, Dean Hidalgo cut a little bit out, at least on my feed, but that's Newton Hall, I believe. But I will also say that it is possible to request your own room. And I know some of you have that question. Some of you have emailed us in regard to that. And I see that question has popped up in our Q&A section there. So I'll answer it right now. You are able to request your own room. It is an additional cost to have your own room. As of right now, we've been told that we are able to have roommates. We are in contact with the county, with the state, with the health departments. So we're in constant contact to get the updates. I know the governor is releasing some new information on guidelines for colleges and universities, hopefully by the end of this week. We are taking all of those guidelines into account. So if anything changes, we'll definitely be sure to let people know and update that. As of right now, we're moving ahead with the plan of allowing roommates, but you can request your own room if you're so interested in doing so. You can put that on your application, or you can email the dean of the building you're requesting specifically and make sure that they know that you are requesting your own room.
Sorry, did I tap out there? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. You just cut out a little bit there, so.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with everything Dean Cyber said. And sorry, some of you guys have been emailing me already. Some of you guys actually found me on Instagram already, and I apologize that I haven't responded to all of you. I've been getting a lot of messages. So I'm going through them systematically, but we're going to get to you guys, promise.
Yes, and the same thing is true for me. We take vacations at different times during the summer, so all of the deans can kind of get our vacations in. So sometimes it may take us a few days to get back to you. We do love and appreciate you. We will answer those questions and give you plenty of time to get those responses, but sometimes there is a little delay. So if you've emailed a dean and you haven't heard directly back from them, give them a few days. They may be on vacation, but we definitely will get to those questions and we will get you the information that you need. So here's a list of things to bring. So we will on the next slide show you what not to bring, but there's a number of things that we recommend that you bring. Obviously, you'll need to bring bed sheets and linens. Most of our beds are regular twins. On the men's side, they do have quite a number of extra long twins. You can check in with your dean specifically if you need to request an extra long mattress, or if you want to check and make sure that your room has either a twin or an extra long twin, because we do have a mix of those. So unfortunately, it's not a standard. Most of the women's size beds are the standard regular twin size. But if you're unsure, go ahead and check in with your dean once you get your room assignment, and we'll be sure to let you know those specifics. You can bring a fan. Most of our dormitories do not have air conditioning. So there are a few weeks at the beginning and the end of the year that can be a little hot during the day. We usually cool off fairly well at night, usually into the 50s or so. But in the daytime, it can be nice to have a fan to put in your window. Personal items, you'll see at the top, refrigerator. Those are small refrigerators. You need to keep them under 4 cubic feet. So that's kind of the size requirement there. And then finally, a vacuum for carpeted rooms. And again, we have a mix of rooms. Our buildings are different ages. And so some of the buildings have more carpeted, some have less carpeted rooms. It just depends. And so we can definitely answer that once you're assigned a room. We can give you the specific on whether or not you're carpeted or not. And we recommend you bring a vacuum and cleaning supplies for your own room. So Dean Hidalgo, why don't you tell us about, unless you have more to add to this slide, tell us about the things not to bring.
Not to bring. So you make me the bad guy. I got to be the bad guy.
Exactly.
Okay.
100%.
What not to bring? Okay. First thing is toasters. Man, I don't know why. I mean, I know why, but somehow every year we find somebody who's got a toaster, and the dorm is evacuated like at 3 a.m. because somebody doesn't know how to cook toast. First of all, shouldn't have had the toaster. And anyway, Toaster. Okay, sorry, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox about toasters, but no toasters. Sorry, guys. It is a fire hazard, and we don't want the dorm with you in it burning down. I don't think your parents want that either. So no toasters. Grills. Also had this happen. Walked into a room and they're having a full-on barbecue, aprons on and everything, and they're having, yeah, no grills, please. No grills, no open coil cookers. We have busters right down the road. You can get your barbecue, but no grilling in the rooms. Okay, this is important. Again, another fire hazard. You don't think it's going to spark. You don't think it's going to cause fire, but I can show you multiple burns in rugs where people didn't think it was going to catch fire. It caught fire. And yeah, anyways, candles as well, another fire. We don't do well with fire in Northern California. If you haven't figured it out yet, we're kind of touchy on the subject, so no candles. That being said, you can bring a candle warmer. It's very nifty, and you actually save money because you don't buy as many candles. You just put it on a little candle bath. Is it a candle bath? Candle, yeah, it's like a hot pad.
It's
And it makes
like
the
a
candle
little
hot,
hot pad.
and the smelly stuff goes, and it makes your stinky stuff smell good. A large refrigerator is another thing to bring. Okay, we've had it happen. People roll up with like a double decker, and they're like, "This is gonna go in my room." But first of all, I'm not gonna have upstairs. It's not. And pets. So your snakes, your dogs, your cats, unfortunately, are not allowed in the dormitories. But fish are allowed. Do they have fish? A fish outside? I've never seen a fish in there.
You cut out a little bit there, friend, but
Oh, my Wi-Fi.
You've never seen a fish in a dorm room?
No. I've never seen a fish in a dorm room.
We have them. Yeah, people have fish. So you can bring a fish.
Okay.
Say the one thing that I would say is some of you may ask about ESAs or emotional support animals. That is something that if you are requesting that and it is a medical need, you will need to go through the disabilities office. So be sure to check out the PUC website and link to the disabilities page. And you can get all the information on how to contact Judy Cushman, who is the head of our disabilities. She's our disabilities coordinator. And so she would be the one to contact, and she would have all the paperwork and all the things necessary to begin the process of requesting that. But other than that, only fish are allowed. And yeah, so those are the things not to bring.
What about a bunny? Can I bring a bunny?
Absolutely not.
I knew somebody who had a bunny in their room.
Yeah,
No bunnies.
big mess. They make a big mess.
Big mess. Big mess. Stinky.
All right, so here are a few things about dorm life. When you do arrive, we will do a more in-depth orientation. So just so you're aware, we'll go over more once you arrive about curfew times and events that go on in the dorm. But we wanted to give you a brief overview of dorm life. So one of the things is that it's a community. And the biggest thing that we attempt to do in the residence halls is to create a community for you. This is where you spend the majority of your time outside of classes. This is the place where you're going to make your friends, where you're going to have those study sessions, where you're going to have all of that free time and spend it. And so we try to do a lot of things that will keep you active and entertained. Some of the things that we do under normal circumstances are things like dorm Olympics, we have worships, we have trivia nights, we have games, we have socials. Obviously, during the pandemic, we're going to have to either modify or change some of those events because we can't have large groups that are socializing in contained spaces. But we have gotten very creative during the last quarter when we were remote about ways to do things that are social distanced or that are very safe. So we will have a lot of things available for you and activities available for you, but that will be done in a safe way. So we will definitely be keeping close contact with, like I said, the health officials that will give us the guidelines that we need to in order to make sure that you're safe and healthy on our campus. So the other thing that we have is resident assistants that we call them RAs, and they are there on your halls to kind of be your go-to. So that's your contact. They're going to be checking in with you regularly. They'll answer questions for you. They are students that have been here for at least a year, and usually they are have been here several years. And so they're the students that would be there to really help you kind of get your feet under you as you're getting used to being in college, as you're getting into the routines. They're going to be the ones that are helping you through that process. So your RAs are a huge support for you. So get to know them. Again, they usually would do night checks and hang out with you in your room and be spending time with you. There may be some modification for that. We want to keep them healthy and safe as well. But we definitely will provide opportunities for you to get to know them and meet them. And I will say one more thing on that, and that is, should the governor or the state or the country decide that it's not safe for us to return on campus right away in the fall, and we do start remote, we have done that for a quarter. We have a lot of things in place that would give us the opportunity to create those communities online for you. So should that be the case, we would definitely have opportunities for you to connect with people, for you to connect with your deans and your RAs, even though you wouldn't be in person with them. We would be having worships, we would be having socials, we would be having these different kinds of things online and in different media for you to be able to connect. So just so you know, we're prepared either way, but we're very hopeful that we can have you back on campus and make it safe and healthy and fun for you.
So with all that being said, COVID precautions that we're going to go into for fall quarter. This thing should just have a big sign over it that says, please be flexible. With the ever-changing situation in the virus and how it's affecting the country, and not only federal mandates, but state mandates, things are changing every day, every week. And so what we have here is a brief outline of kind of what we're looking for right now, what we're going to be anticipating to do. But it doesn't mean it's not going to change in the next week, maybe even, by tomorrow. So we're taking it step by step, but we appreciate your flexibility. We have to be flexible in the situation too. We wish we could just open the doors, welcome you guys in, and not stress about it at all. But because of the pandemic, we have to, treat things a little bit differently. So first and foremost, our check-in date is going to be September 9th. That's going to be move-in date for you guys. Okay, so bring all your stuff, not your toasters, not your easy bake ovens, not all that stuff. But that's check-in day. We will have people at our doors to check temperatures. We do ask that you guys are wearing masks, that if you have a family member or you yourself not feeling well, that you let us know in advance, and we'll work with you. We're flexible. That's kind of every dean's middle name is flexible, because we just want to accommodate you guys. We want to make sure that you guys are as taken care of as possible. I kind of talked about that state mandates changing. Precautions as far as the residence halls we're taking. We're going to have the beds spread out. Obviously, you're going to be sleeping at least 6 feet apart. As of right now, the state has allowed us to keep 2 people per room. So we're going to stick with that model that we usually do. So if you have a friend that you want to be roommate with, or maybe you don't know anybody, but you want to meet somebody, that's fine. Right now, we're still working on 2 per room. In addition to that, our front desk situation is going to be a little bit different, but for you guys, it won't be any different. It will be norm. But washing hands, keeping everything as sanitary as possible is going to be the name of the game now, trying to keep everyone as safe as possible. And that includes the common spaces like the cafeteria, the lobbies, and that will be outlined a little bit better once you actually get on campus, because we'll have the most up-to-date information once you're actually back on campus. In addition to that, we have begun to implement, we will, fall quarter daily health checks. You'll learn a little bit more about the LifeSafe app going into the next few weeks. I'm sure Student Life will be sending out emails and helping you guys register for it. But it's our kind of our notification system on campus. It's ways for you to feel safe. Say there's somebody that is making you feel uneasy, someone making you feel unsafe. The LifeSafe app is used that you can record that. It goes directly to public safety, which goes to bigger and better things, and we get on it right away. So if you see something that's wrong, if you're not, what we're using it for here is if you're not feeling well, we're going to ask you actually to check in every single day to update us, tell us how you're doing, how you're feeling, if anything's changed. Very simple process, but it's just to keep everybody safe. That's our main, to keep everybody, because it's crazy times right now. As you guys know, we want to keep our little holy hill as safe as possible. So yeah, again, flexibility. Please be flexible.
So I will add a couple of other things. We are adding plexiglass screens to our front desks to keep our desk workers safe. We do have housekeeping staff that will be regularly cleaning our common spaces, such as the laundry rooms and the kitchens. And we're looking at, how to safely have the lobbies open if that's possible. If not, we'll be having outdoor spaces, things like that, just to make sure everybody has space where they can interact with people, but to do it safely. So we have a lot of those things in place. Health Services will be giving one of these presentations in the coming days, and they will address a lot of those very specific issues. So stay tuned, sign up for that, check that out when that's posted. But she'll be able to address a lot of the specific concerns you might have about COVID and the COVID precautions that we're taking. But again, we're keeping up to date with that. It's changing quickly. We're watching the guidelines from the state, and so we will definitely keep you posted if things change and what that will mean for our students. I think we might have, I think that's it for our slides, but I know we've got a number of questions that are over on the side.
Yeah.
JR, do you want to moderate the questions?
I think JR is.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me pop out of the screen share business here and we'll get all of us back. So hello, everybody. All right, so we'll start from the top. First one is, what is the cost of having your own room if you want to do single?
Okay, so the cost of having your own room will be this. So it's the cost of having a roommate is, I believe it's $1,620 per quarter. And it's an additional $810 for a single room per quarter. So each quarter, that would be the additional cost. It's another half again as much. So you're not required to pay for the entire extra bed. You only pay for half of the extra bed if you want to have your own room. Hopefully that made sense.
Yeah. All right. Another question. There's actually a couple about when will we get an email about our dorm and roommate assignment? Big question. Hot topic.
Never. Never.
So the goal right now is no later than August 1, we're going to start sending out the new student housing letters. So again, like I said, we're on vacation at different times. So the deans kind of have to get that housing done, and it kind of happens sporadically when you have 5 dormitories and you're trying to get everybody in. It can make it a little bit harder, and especially with all of the having to wait to hear more about what we were allowed to do, and pushed us back a little bit farther this year, even more than normal. Normally we would have had letters out by now, but our goal is to have things done by the end of next week and to have those letters out by no later than August 1 as the start date for getting those letters out. So keep an eye on your PUC email, they'll come through there. And if you have questions once you receive it, if you've requested a roommate, that information should be on that letter, as well as the move-in date and the stipulations for move-in, and all of that will also be included in that letter.
Awesome. All right. So rapid fire. Okay.
There's a lot of questions.
Rapid fire. I'm asking you some of the things that you can or cannot bring, because they asked a couple other ones that you guys may have not gone over. So yeah, here we go. Air fryer.
Nope. Somebody ruined it for you guys. Sorry.
Toaster oven.
Nope. Ruined that long ago.
It's true. Personal printers.
Yes, but you don't need to really. I did that when I first. By the way,
Sorry, Mike.
Dean Stafford and I both crazy.
All right, we lost Juan a little bit, but personal printers,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. But he was also saying probably don't need to, because we do have
Yeah.
ability in the library, and honestly, a lot of stuff is actually done electronically and submitted electronically.
Yeah.
All right. Small rice cooker.
Yes, that is allowed. I think Dean Hidalgo has frozen here, at least at the moment. But yes, rice cookers are allowed. So by all means, bring one.
It's just us. maybe he'll come back. All right. Is there a kitchen that we can cook in?
At this point in time, yes. I haven't heard any guidelines on shutting those down, so I believe that they'll be available. They may be limited use, such as, 1 or 2 students at a time will be allowed to be in there. Social distancing will have to be followed in there as well. And it will likely be, if there's more than one of you in there, you'll have to be wearing a mask while you're using that. But we'll make all of those guidelines clear for you for sure. But there are kitchens in each of the residence halls, and in most residence halls, I think there's at least 2. I think McReynolds has 1. I know Winning has 2. Andre has 2. Newton has 1. Newton has 1, and I think Granger has 1. Yeah, so the men's dorms have 1. And the women's dorms, some of us have 2, some of us have 1, but yeah.
Perfect. All right. Big question, especially on the guy's side. Internet. Tell us about the internet.
How would you get internet that
Is that
works
the
in a situation
question? Can you game? I think that's really what they're
Can
asking.
you play COD?
What's the situation like? We lost Juan
Dean
again.
Hidalgo looks like he's lost. Okay, so all of the residence halls have Wi-Fi across the whole building. In fact, Wi-Fi is available on campus. And so you definitely can game, you can get online, you can get to your homework, you can do all the things you need to do, you can stream Netflix, all the things that you're wanting to do that I'm assuming you're asking the question about. Dean Hidalgo, you can add more now that you're back.
Yeah, this Wi-Fi that I'm on is not a representation of the Wi-Fi. This is different
I was going to say,
Wi-Fi.
he is not on the dorm Wi-Fi right now.
No. I mean, it's like any Wi-Fi, right? It can get overloaded when 100 people, 100 guys are playing Call of Duty or Fortnite, but the Wi-Fi works good. Yeah, we don't nearly have as many blackouts or things like that as we used to, and it's all over campus now, which is really nice. It's not limited to one building. You can be anywhere on campus outside the grind, which you learn what the grind is, and you have Wi-Fi. So it's really nice. It's really awesome setup, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Much better than when JR and I were students here and we had hard lines in all of our rooms. And
well, I was going to say the hard lines are still there. You actually can plug straight in if you want to go faster. And there is in the dorms, there's about like a Wi-Fi router every 25 feet down the hallway.
Yeah.
So
it's good coverage across the building.
Yeah, and it's fast. We've never ever maxed out the entire campus speed ever. So there's room to grow. All right. This is a pretty easy one. Are the dorms co-ed?
I was going to say something smart, but I'm not
Don't
going
be
to say
sassy.
it.
Don't be sassy.
Not gonna
Just
be
be
sassy.
straightforward. No, they're not. So we have 2 men's dorms, Granger and Newton, 3 women's dorms, McReynolds, Andre, and Winning, and they are gender specific. So if we're able to open the lobby safely, then those are common areas where genders can mix during the daytime up until I think it's midnight, from 6 a.m. to midnight. But depending on whether or not we can do that safely, will be whether or not mixed genders are allowed in the buildings at all, but only in those lobby spaces for sure.
Awesome. Do you do Orthodox worships?
So I don't know if you want to take that one. I'm assuming by that they're meaning very conservative or much more strict by the term Orthodox. We do Seventh-day Adventist worships. We do Seventh-day Adventist geared worships because we are a Seventh-day Adventist school. But I would say that they're fairly open-minded and they're very welcoming of anybody that wants to come, whether you are from another religion, whether you're not religious at all. If you're just interested in coming, if you're just interested in hanging out, they're very welcoming for everybody. So they're not something that's particularly formal, or there's not a lot of rites or rituals or things that are happening that would be confusing. It's pretty straightforward worship, music, scriptural based sermonettes or presentations, things like that. But I wouldn't say that they're intimidating by any means, and that they're extremely welcoming to anybody that wants to be involved.
Awesome. A couple questions about orientation, and I'll answer those. So the first one is the 5-day orientation all mandatory, or can students pick the days? It is for the freshmen, a 5-day long one starting on September 9, the Wednesday, and it is required. If you're a transfer student, that one will be on Sunday, September 13, so a little bit later. All right. Here's a good one. I love this one. What's the benefits of becoming an RA?
Man, don't become an RA. I'm just joking. No, if you're an RA, honestly, it's a leadership role. We actually take it very seriously. We go through a pretty grueling process of becoming an RA. We have 3 different sets of interviews, at least for the guys' side, that we do with our current RAs, with our head RA and our student dean, and then with the deans. It's a leadership position, and I think being an RA is pretty across the board, pretty revered title. And so we take it very seriously, and I mean, it's only going to benefit you in honing your leadership skills and preparing you to be a leader in the world.
Yeah, I think RA is a phenomenal job. I was an RA for 3 years, and I highly recommend it as a job if it's something that you're interested in, but it is definitely something we hold to a high standard. It is, like Dean Hidalgo said, a rigorous process for the hiring process of it. And it's something that, you know, there's a lot entailed in it, and there's a lot of responsibility in it. So it's not something that you just want to take lightly. It's not a position where you're just gonna, do it for an hour or 2 and then just walk away from it. It's something that's a commitment. So, but we definitely love to talk more about it. We love to have students that are interested come by and get more information about it, because it is a great opportunity if you are interested.
Cool. All right, so we didn't hit this one. We probably should talk a little bit about it. Curfew. Is there a curfew?
There is. I'm going to keep Dean Hidalgo from being sassy for a minute here. There is a, so freshmen, I think we're mainly talking to freshmen, incoming freshmen right now. Is that true, JR?
Sorry, say that again.
Is this primarily incoming freshmen that we're?
No, it's everybody.
Oh, it's everybody. Okay. So there is a curfew, and it's a little bit different for each group. So incoming freshmen and anybody who is a transfer that doesn't have enough credits to qualify as a sophomore would be in the same group, and that's a midnight curfew throughout the week, and on Saturday night it's a 1 a.m. curfew. For students that are sophomores and above, it's a 1 a.m. curfew across the board, so every night is a 1 a.m. curfew, including the Saturday nights. And then if you're transferring in and you are 21 or older, you can request to be on our 21 privilege list, which means that all you have to do is basically check in with the residence hall in some way once a day. And if you're not going to be in that night, you would just either tell the front desk or put in a leave slip and say, I'll be back after 1 a.m. or I'll be out tonight if you're going to be out studying at a friend's house or something like that. That's how it normally would work. Obviously, if there's some thing that's mandated to us by the health officials saying, about COVID stuff, then we would let you know. But that's how curfew works in general. So.
All right. So there's a couple questions on here about the restroom situation. So can we talk a little bit about that and maybe some of the COVID precautions regarding that as well?
Okay, well,
so I'll just say how it's different for the dorms.
Yeah, you start with the men's side because the men's dorms are different than the women's dorms. So why don't you talk about the men's dorms first?
So on the men's side, in Newton Hall specifically, we have 3 floors of restrooms. In a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 restrooms, and they're quite large. The very first floor has stalls where you can shower in stalls. The rest are open community showers, but they have individual stalls, obviously, for the restroom. So there's no restrooms in the room. None of the guys' side has restrooms in the room in currently active dorms. Granger is the same way. First floor, we have stalls, And second and third floor, we're working on getting stalls, but we have not yet put those in. Those are 2 community showers. So in Granger, there's 3 community restrooms. In Newton, there's 5.
And you have housekeepers that clean those regularly, right?
Every day.
And I think, I don't know, because Dean Hidalgo and I have both been on vacation this last week, I believe, and from residence life. And so I believe that there are things in place for those to be cleaned multiple times a day for the COVID precautions. I'm not sure on that, but I think custodial's working on cleaning them multiple times a day for the shared common spaces like the kitchens and the restrooms and the laundry rooms. On the women's side, all 3 of our residence halls are suited bathrooms, which means that 2 rooms share a common bathroom in the middle of them. So at most you would have 4 people that would share that bathroom space. So we're looking at how that all works. We're definitely encouraging students to be hyper vigilant, to bring their own cleaning supplies, to make sure that those spaces are cleaned regularly, and even over regularly, to make sure that that shared space between your rooms is clean and is not transmitting any kind of illness, not just COVID, but flu or colds or things like that. But we'll have those kinds of stipulations as well. But yes, on the women's side, we do have shared bathrooms.
All right. So another rapid fire, can I bring? We did think, I think we answered this one, but fish.
Like to eat?
No, like pet fish.
Pet fish,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Yeah.
All right. Blenders.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
We're doing pretty good here on the yes ones. TVs.
Yeah.
Yes.
Juan, should we talk about like TV size? Because I mean, I feel like a 70-inch probably might not work.
It works for me. If we can play Smash Brothers on that sucker, it looks so nice on a 70-inch TV. Anyways, no, I think our actual restriction is, I want to say, I don't know the actual number anymore.
I want to say 55.
I've seen probably 55 is the biggest I've seen, 50, 55.
Because of the opening.
I think it would be pretty hard to
Yeah.
get a bigger screen in with the bed 6 feet apart and the desks and chairs and things. You'd have to be pretty creative to get a bigger TV than that in there.
All
Someone
right.
saying that they're
But I've seen
taking
some
the challenge.
creative students. I've seen some pretty creative students, so.
Meat. Tell us about meat.
Do you want to handle that one?
So, oh, it's light. So meat. Meat is not allowed to be cooked in our kitchens. So there's 1 kitchen in each of the men's dorms, and there's, I think you said 2 kitchens in each of the women's dorms. But we do not allow
not in
cooking of
McReynolds,
meat.
but yeah, in Andre and Winning.
Yeah, so we do not allow meat cooking in the residence halls. That being said, you can go down the hill and eat meat, but the cafeteria does not serve meat. The deli across the street does serve meat, so there's meat available there. But as far as in the residence hall, no cooking of meat.
But you can have it in your room. So if you want to bring, if you want to bring microwave meals and things like that you're going to keep in your fridge, if you want to have meat, sliced up deli meat or whatever in your own personal fridge in your room, you're allowed to do that. Excuse me. But you, like you said, you're not allowed to cook it in the common shared kitchens.
All right.
And no barbecues, remember.
No grills in your room.
All right. So what floor are freshmen normally on?
Basement.
No windows?
I'm just, no windows, no internet either. You're just only allowed to study. It's different for every dorm, and we don't really like try and necessarily put you all in one area. I guess to an extent we kind of do, because you guys are going to be together for the next 4 years. So we want you to get to know each other. But we don't say that, freshmen aren't allowed to be anywhere else. It's different people are different. We've had people come in with certain disabilities and they can't climb 4 stories. And so we accommodate to that. We're very flexible. But we do at the same time want you guys to get to know the people you're going to be with for the next 4 years. We want you to get to know your class, to bond, And we do select RAs that we think will be the most welcoming, the most freshmen, the different type to make sure that, the freshmen are really well taken care of. And so there's no specific floor for across campus. It's different for every single dorm.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll take this one. What happens if you get sick during a quarter and test positive for COVID? We do actually have we have a pretty extensive protocol on how we will handle that. If you get sick during the quarter and you're what we call symptomatic, you will be quarantined in your room while we start actually working on COVID testing. If you test positive for COVID, then we'll actually take you to, we have some apartments set aside. We also have an offline residence hall or two that we could potentially put you in. And then we would start bringing food and all those things, and you would do all of your classes and courses online. Similar vein as asked about will we physically go to class. Currently, our intention is to do that. We have actually gone around and created what we're calling COVID capacities for all of our classrooms, which is basically taking out desks and physically making 6 foot of space around all the desks so that we can do social distance and have masks and stuff on campus. And again, we'll have another workshop on the health specific information in a couple weeks. And, some of the things that are coming out, again, like we talked about before, it's ever changing as far as, how things are going. But that is currently our intention. We do plan to have contingencies if someone gets sick or they can't physically attend class. And make sure you still get that high quality PUC education. All right, do we bring cooking utensils?
If you want to eat in your room, yes, I would suggest them, but the cafeteria will provide you cooking or eating utensils for you. But if you want to eat something in your room, I'd recommend bringing a fork and a spoon and knife.
And if you want to cook something in the kitchens, I think in some of the buildings we have some limited supplies, but if you're wanting to cook a lot for yourself and not eat at the cafeteria as much, I would suggest that you bring at least the basic rudimentary things of a pot, a pan, a spatula, a whisk, those kinds of basic cooking utensils. If you're wanting to cook a lot and you're a aspiring chef, I would bring your own things in that regard. But like I said, some of the kitchens have limited utensils, but it's best to bring a few of your own things if you're going to cook significantly or you're going to do it regularly.
Can you have speakers in your room?
Yes, you can have speakers in your room, but we do ask that all of our students remain respectful to the fact that you have neighbors, both on the sides of you for the most part and right across the hall. And so just like at some point you're going to want to sleep, you're going to want to study. Your neighbors could be in that moment when you're wanting to, kind of blast your music. And so we ask that you stay respectful to the environment, that you're not alone. You have people actually above you and probably below you as well as far as the neighbors are concerned. So yes, you can have speakers, but we just ask that you remain respectful.
And I would suggest that you also bring at least a cheap basic pair of headphones if you don't want to invest in a good pair of expensive headphones. Just a cheap pair of earbuds will do, but something that you might want to use if your roommate is studying, if the people next door are studying, if it's late at night, the sound is going to travel a lot better. So it's a good thing to bring at least some kind of earphones to listen to your own thing and respect that space if your roommate wants to sleep, or if it's late at night, kind of a thing.
Love it. All right, this one's been asked several times, so I'm going to make sure we get it. So the campus police, or we call it public safety, enter the residence halls for checkups as needed.
No.
Public safety doesn't normally, unless we need them to come into the building or we call them for a specific events, they're not coming in routinely to knock on doors or to do rounds on the halls. They do rounds around campus regularly, and in the nights and during the day they're driving around campus and they're checking doors at night and those kinds of things. But they're not entering the residence halls or up on the halls or knocking on your room or anything like that, unless the dean has specifically called them for an instant of something. But it's very rare for public safety to come inside of the buildings or to go on the halls.
Okay. All right, let's see. Is it possible to drive home on the weekends, and can freshmen leave on the weekends as well?
Yeah, so that is your ability. You can do that. The thing we ask, and your dean individually will go over it with you when you actually get to PUC, is communication. Communication is key. We're not here to, know where you are every second of the day. That's not what we like. We just want to make sure you're safe. And so communication is key. So we do have a form that you fill out online. It takes about a minute, maybe less, that you can check in and just say, hey, I'm going home for the weekend, or I'm going to this place for the weekend. And that way we know where you are, because we've had instances where parents call us and they say, have you talked to John today? And we'll say, no, we haven't seen him today. We thought he was with you. And parents want to know where you are, or things like that. We just like to know where you are and make sure that you're safe. That's the biggest concern above anything else, is just safety. Safety.
All right. I'm going to answer one that's asked a couple times on here, and that has to do with COVID testing. Will be required to have one before you come? No, we're not at this particular time, and there's no guidance specifically to request that. And the biggest reason why is that COVID test is a snapshot in time, basically that moment that you are getting that test. And truthfully, 5 minutes after you take off, you could contract COVID. So what we are working on is actually a protocol for doing random testing, and also the health survey is going to be a big deal, as well as the temperature checks, to kind of do all of that while they're here on campus. Because again, with still having some of the coming and going, trying to do it all at once is good for that, particular moment in that kind of 5 minutes, if you will. So like I said, we're working on some protocols for random testing. And then obviously the biggest thing is to put in those mitigating safety factors, which I might as well mention them. We're calling it the big three. So it's one, having a mask, and that mask is worn at all times, outdoors and indoors, unless you are in a place where that 6 foot social distancing is guaranteed or established. 2 is, of course, the social distancing, keeping 6 foot away. And then the third thing is that daily health survey and temperature. So we're actually going to be issuing thermometers to everybody when they show up on campus, so you can do that before you start your day. And so long as you take your temperature, you're below 100.4, you pass all the questions on the health survey. It's 5 questions, takes 30 seconds. You're good to go. And there will be checkpoints throughout the day that you'll actually present that past health survey, and even some instances where you'll still be getting temperature taken as you go into so maybe the more of the public spaces. So like I said, we'll get into more of that again in the health workshop. We're going to have our campus doctor and our director of health services on, and we'll get into more of that as well. But thanks for the questions. I really appreciate it. All right. What is colloquy?
So we actually call it community now. Are you going to answer that, JR?
Yeah, colloquy is now a community. It's one of the times that we get together, all of campus, and we get to see each other, we get to worship together, and we have a speaker series as well. So likely what will happen is that it'll more than likely be in an online format this fall. So doing it from your dorm room. We do have one that we're planning on likely doing on little mini sites around campus. So think of New Year's Eve, where everyone's checking with everyone, going, hey, how's it going over there in your location? So that we stay within the group and large gathering guidelines that are set forth by the county and the state. So more on that. Same for Vespers, which is one of our Friday evening worships. All right. Can residents in the dorms bring their friends who don't attend PUC? Can they come to the room, basically?
As of right now, our normal policy would be yes, but since we're in a COVID situation, my hunch is going to be no. JR, maybe you can answer that a little bit better, but my hunch is going to be that we're going to limit the amount of traffic that's coming in and out of the buildings to those that are housed in those buildings. But, you know, again, those things are going to be made clear because we're going to get better guidelines once the state has given those guidelines more clearly to us. And we'll clarify all of that for you when you get here during that orientation for students. But that's going to be my hunch as of right now, is that we're going to try and minimize the amount of traffic that's coming in and out of the buildings.
Perfect. That's spot on. All right. Will there be a gym? And if so, when are they open? We do have a campus gym, which has a fitness center and a weight room. Once the county allows us to be open, we do plan to, and we're working on the protocols to do that as soon as fitness centers are allowed to. And that's again working within the state and county guidelines. There are gyms in 2 of the residence halls, small mini gyms. Granger has a little bit of workout equipment in the basement, and I believe Andre has some in theirs as well. And again, those will follow the same guidelines falling within the county and the state. All right, when you work on campus, is the money going towards your tuition or do you actually get paid?
You get to choose. That's the beautiful part about it. You could say you want this much taken out for maybe tithe, this much taken out for your tuition, or you want the whole thing to come to you. You get to decide what you do with your money.
Perfect. I know you can also do portions of, I know you could do like 50% of my paycheck I want to go, 30%, so on. They can automatically make go, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Are there parking spots on campus? And I'll just throw it on. Can freshmen have cars on campus?
Yes, and yes to both of those questions. You register your vehicle with public safety, and there is a process for doing that, and I believe there's a fee for doing that. I'm not sure the exact fee. JR, do you know the number?
The fee, you said?
The fee for registering your vehicle.
There is not one.
Oh.
It is.
Oh, it's free.
You register.
Oh, well,
and
that's a difference from when I was a student, because I think we had to pay for it when I was.
We did. It's gone.
Well, lucky you guys. But there are student spots. They are labeled S for student parking. So you are able to park anywhere that there's S parking on campus. There are some spots that are limited to C parking, which is for community students only. And there are spots that are A parking, which is administrative, which is faculty and staff. So those ones are not available, but any of the spots that are labeled S parking are free for you to park in.
Is there a fee for laundry?
That's a trick question.
That's not a trick question.
No, there's no fee for laundry.
It's free laundry.
It's built into your room fees, so it's no coins. You don't need to save up your quarters.
That's why
it's a trick question.
There's no laundry fee. It's open. Use it as much as you want. Mm-hmm. And there's technology in place where it actually you can get notifications when your laundry is done, and you can see which washers and dryers are open. So you don't have to truck your laundry from 4th floor Newton all the way down to 1st floor for laundry. I know this. I remember this pain all too well my freshman year. My calves were
too much technology. This is too much technology. Skynet is gonna be soon self-aware.
Right.
And there's an easy way also. There's an app where you can report if a machine breaks down. If you find a machine that's not working, you can report it right there and they'll come fix it right away. So I think it's like 24 hours or 48 hours max or something that they fix it in.
All right. Are veggie links okay to cook?
Good timing, friend. we hit that.
I know, it's perfect.
All right. Hey, we're actually we're under 15. This is pretty good. And look at all these people who still attended. Love it that you guys are sticking.
I know. You guys are the long haulers. Look at you. We've only lost like 4 or 5 people here. Not
many. All right. They're all good questions. Good stuff. All right. let's see. Can we put curtains over our closets since there's not doors on them? And then it says parentheses, Winning Hall.
Yes.
Thumbs up. Good stuff. What is the hottest it gets during the summertime?
Low hundreds. It's not often.
Yeah, like 100.
I would say, no more than 100 to 101, but it's rare. Usually it's mid 90s at the hottest, but I would say on average it's in the 80s.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mid to high 80s.
I think like we'll hit triple digits like what, 10 days?
Yeah, and it's never
Maybe.
been a long stretch. So it'll be maybe 1 or 2 days that is really hot and then it goes back down.
All right. Do we have a certain key or a card to get into our rooms?
Yes, you'll be signed out a key to your room. Next.
It's the only one that's a little different is McReynolds Hall. And McReynolds, some of their doors have codes on them, which Dean Horn will give you when you move in. And a few of them have keys. So that dorm is a little bit different because of the way that they've updated. It was built later, and some of the doors got put in with codes on them and some have keys. So, but all the others are hard copy keys that you'll get.
All right. How can I apply for student housing? So the easiest thing to do is go to puc.edu/housing, and it has all the housing options, including the application for the residence hall. So there you go. All right. Is cigarette smoking allowed on campus? Hard no. Yeah. Any tobacco products, drugs, alcohol, that includes those that are legal like marijuana, are not allowed on campus.
And that also includes vaping.
Correct. Many of those are, actually all of those are federally illegal by no less than 2 different laws. And we do have to abide by those. So not to mention that we don't condone it as a part of the religious aspect either. So do we have to get a parent approval to go somewhere?
So you don't have to get a parent approval to go somewhere. You may have to, as a freshman, get an invitation from the family that you're going to. So if you're, say, going over to your friend's house, we may need an adult in the house to send us an approval saying, yes, this person is invited over to our house. We know they're coming. It's mainly just a record keeping and like Dean Hidalgo said, a safety thing, so that we know people are aware that you're coming over, that you'll be there, that you should be arriving at a certain time, that kind of a thing. So it's kind of a safety check implement. But it's not like some of you have gone to academies and you had to have like that parent approved list. It's not the same thing as that. But we do, for freshmen, we do have that invitation requirement.
All right. Will there be any differences with the move-in situation if you move in on August 30?
That might be in reference to athletes, maybe.
Or
athletes,
yeah,
or international student. As far as I know, no, there's no difference in move-in procedures or standards if you come in earlier. I don't know. Dean Hidalgo, do you know of anything? I think it's exactly the same thing.
No, it'll be the same thing.
cafeteria hours.
TBD, to be determined.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, while we're answering some other questions, I'll look those up because I have seen some things go by about some updated hours for the cafeteria. I will tell you specifically on the cafeteria though right now, because of the way that indoor dining is prohibited in Napa County, it will be a grab and go situation where either some items will be available for you to grab, check out and go, or we will have 2 hotlines that will be served by the staff. So we'll move on. I'll grab that information as we go. All right, can students have family visit dorm rooms?
As of right now, no, because of the COVID. So we're really, again, like Dean Cypher said, we're really limiting the traffic in and out of our dorms and really reducing it to only those people that are living in the dorms to protect everyone as much as possible.
Right. How about during move-in?
During moving, yes. Yeah, you're going to need help, and we'll have RAs as well there to help you. But I mean, the whole idea is as little contact with other people outside your family to both protect your family and other families, as well as other students. So, yeah.
And keep an eye on that information when you do receive your housing information and the updates throughout as we're coming closer to the beginning of the year and move in, because there may be things like staggered move in that we have to implement and things like that. So there may be some of those protocols that we have to put in place so that we limit the amount of families coming in and out at the same time. So we don't have 30 families trying to move in right next to each other. So keep an eye on your emails for that, because if that is the case, then we will have signups and we'll have more information about that.
Awesome. All right, I got the cafeteria hours for you. Here it is. Monday through Thursday at 7:30 to 7:30. Friday 7:30 to 6. Sabbath 12 to 6. And Sunday 10 to 7. As we get closer to school starting, we'll be putting that out. That'll be available in so many places, including an app that we'll be using for orientation. So I know I went through that fast, and I will actually put it in the window here, so you guys have access to that as well. All right, up to how many hours can you work weekly?
Hours.
Yeah, PUC has a limit for student workers of 20 hours maximum per week. So you can work anywhere between that 0 to 20 hours. Some students just pick up a job and get a couple of hours a week, maybe a tutoring or a grading job. I was a note taker even when I was a student here. The Disabilities Office and the Teaching and Learning Center, which is our student support center where you can get help with tutoring and things like that. They will sometimes have people take notes in class. So you could even potentially get a few hours of work a week during that. But you can work all the way up to 20 hours a week.
All right, once we move in on September 9, will we be sleeping in our dorms for the rest of orientation, or we get to go home? You will be in your dorm. School starts. We're in. All right, do you recommend that freshmen have a car on campus?
Kind of a dealer's choice.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessary. A lot of our students, even after freshman year, don't have cars on campus. I've known students all the way through until they graduated that didn't have a vehicle on campus. So it's not something that you absolutely have to have. You'll make friends with people that have vehicles if you need to, get to the supermarket. We have a market right across from the main campus, so you can even walk to the market and get supplies if you need supplies. So it's really handy having that market. So you absolutely don't have to have a car, but you're welcome to bring one if you want.
Okay. Can you bring a small AC unit into your room?
No, unfortunately, because of the electrical and because of the fire marshal standards, we're not allowed to have AC units in the student rooms.
What about those little cute little ones that you put water in, and they run on a USB cable?
I'm actually not sure. Fire chief? Do you know if those are
Lock into
allowed?
that one.
Yeah, those are cool. It's mostly a power loading issue. That's
Mhm.
that's the problem. So those little cool ones, if you guys have seen them, they're like little cubes. They do work. But how
Yeah,
about
I actually have one. They work fairly well.
yeah? How about a heater?
No, for the most part. There are.
I think they're asking if there are heaters. Sorry, I should.
Oh, if there are heaters in the room?
Yeah, my bad.
Yes, it gets cold.
Yeah.
It gets cold at night. Even in the summertime, it can get cold at night. Sometimes
And
it's
then it gets hot.
40s. But yes, we do have heaters in the rooms. Space heaters are not allowed, so don't bring your own personal space heater. But there definitely are heaters in the rooms.
Perfect. And if you live on the south wing of Newton Hall, you get to control your own heat in your own room. Actually, there's several dorms that are like that, but Newton, that in Newton just really got redone. So we're excited to see those.
Yeah,
Um,
McReynolds is the
thank
same
you.
way. McReynolds has units of AC and heater units that are unique to each room. But the rest of the dorms just have a central heating that's a steam powered heat. And it's one of those things where it's like it's on for the rest of the winter time. So once the campus turns their steam heaters on, that's when we have heat in the dorms. So
All right. What dorm decorations are allowed? For example, LED lights, pictures, boards, etc.
Yes, yes, yes. All those. We just ask that you remain respectful. So I'll touch on posters. I know we've had an issue with that before, posters being a little risque. So we ask that you be respectful. But anything else, we ask that you don't put huge holes in the walls. So put your pictures up, things like that. But we're not going to mount a TV in your room because then I have to patch it and I have to paint it, and I don't want to. Yeah, I think everything else is pretty. We've got some pretty creative students that put LED lights all around the room, and you saw the drapes on the wall and quite a bit. So yeah.
So the only thing that I would add to that is there's a couple of things. So like Dean Hidalgo said, risque stuff, stuff with bad language on it, those kinds of things we would ask you to avoid. I would suggest you look for the 3M stretchy sticky hooks. Those are things that we can use on the walls, or the poster putty that you can use on the wall, stuff that's not going to take the paint off and that's not going to leave permanent holes in the walls. Most, if not all, of our dorms are cinder block walls. And so those are much harder to patch, and they're much harder to fix if significant damage happens to them. And then the last thing that I would say is a few of our buildings have the built-in old style sprinkler heads, and they have piping. Those you can't put anything on. So some people will try to like wrap lights around them or hang stuff from them. If it's piping for the actual fire systems, you're not allowed to hang anything on that. But on the walls, you can use the sticky hooks, or you can use poster putty to hang all kinds of different things. Like Dean Hidalgo said, people get really creative.
All right. This is an interesting one. How do you do roommate interventions?
Well, I think this is a big question. I don't think we should get onto this. Yeah, that's a good question. I would say email Dean Seibert, myself, and we'll talk about that a little bit more because we need to unpack that a little bit. There's a lot. What are we talking about specifically, and how to, what's going on with your roommate? But we definitely are always here as deans to have those conversations. We'll sit both of you guys down individually. If there's a problem, we'll say, what's going on? How can we help? And sometimes maybe there's just two different personalities and it just doesn't work. And so we're all about making you guys comfortable, making sure your time at PUC is as easy as possible. That way you can focus on your studies. And so we're really understanding and really flexible, like I said before. And so we'll have those conversations. We're not afraid of it. None of the deans are afraid of that confrontation. And, we like it because it's going to make you more comfortable.
We also teach the RAs about conflict resolution. So one of the things that we encourage is that students at least attempt the first time around to do some of that conflict resolution on their own and to, try to work those differences out. Because one of the things we want you to learn in college is life skills that are going to be useful for you no matter how old you are and no matter what circumstances you're in. And one of those things is conflict resolution with people that are difficult, maybe that you have to work with or live with at some time in the future. So we'll give you tips, we'll give you ways to approach those things. Your RAs have those tips as well. But we're definitely here for you if you can't resolve it. The deans are definitely willing to step in and make sure that we can either resolve or fix the situation if moving needs to come to that, whatever the case is.
So the day that they're able to move in, will they have someone to assist with boxes? That is a little bit up in the air right now. We typically do a porter power, and we're trying to sort out how it's going to work with COVID. I know what we did do when students moved out is we allowed them 2 family members to come with and help move things, and we're checked into the residence hall, but we are working on what that specifically looks like for all. All right, how do we receive packages or mail? Just throw the whole thing in there.
So there is a address where you can receive mail. You can either, or you can have it addressed to 1 Angwin Avenue, Angwin, California, 94508. Just have your name on there. You can put your residence hall on there. That's much more helpful. So put your name, your residence hall, and then the 1 Angwin Avenue. And it will go to the mail room. The mail room will sort all the envelopes and the regular mail, and they'll send it to the dorms. And you have mailboxes in your residence halls, and we'll deliver your mail into your mailboxes. If it's a package, the mail room will send you an email to your PUC account that says you've received a package, and you go down to the mail room and pick it up there.
Perfect. Do we keep the same dorm throughout our time living there, or do we get new rooms each year?
It depends. We have a system in place that's a squatting and bidding. So once you're done with your freshman year, you gain points. Sophomore year, you gain points. Junior year, you gain points. As far as how many credits you've completed and as well as how many years you've been there. And from there, you get to either bid on another room that you like. Say there's that corner room that you went into that friend's room and you saw it, you liked it. You can bid on that room, or you can say, no, I want to squat in my room. I want to stay where I'm at. And so, no, you're not limited to just your room. You have the ability to move if you would like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes we have students that want to stay in their room all 4 years. You know, all 4, 5, 6, 7 years that they're here. Depends on the student, but sometimes they'll just stay in the same room, and sometimes they'll move to a different building. You know, we have a lot of students that want to try a different building and see what that community is like. Like I said, community building is our main goal. And every dean is going to do it a little different. So you might really thrive under my system, or you might really like Dean Philpott better, or Dean Horn better. And the same thing on the guy's side. You might love Dean Ringer and Granger, or you might be like, let me try Newton. I want to try that out and see what Newton's like. And so you're welcome to do that at the end of a quarter, or at the end of the year to request. I don't know about quarters this year with COVID, but I know for sure at the end of the year, you're definitely able to request. Normally, under good circumstances without a pandemic, you'd be able to do that at the end of the quarter as well. We'll have to look and see what the stipulations are. But.
All right. Are there curtain rods where the closets are to hang curtains? I'm guessing that's for women.
No. So, but I would say I would not buy a curtain rod until you've measured it. You can contact your dean and we can measure that space for you before you come if you want to buy it before you come. But what I use, because I set up a model room in Winning, is I just used those tension rods that have the springs in them. And so I just measured it, got the right size, and then you just extend it and you lock it in place and it works fine.
Speaking of curtains, do windows have blinds, or do we have to bring them?
Check in with your dean, because some of, we're just going to say no until you're verified that they do. They don't. So you have to cover your own windows.
So on the women's side, we're working on getting blinds in all of the windows right now, or curtains, some kind of window covering. And that's the project that we're working on right now. So that's why Dean Hidalgo is saying that, because some of the rooms we're still working on getting them installed in and getting them ordered for. I can tell you all of the ones on the women's side have been installed. So there are blinds. They're the old mini blind style horizontal blinds on the women's side. On the men's side, they're working on getting the curtains installed because they're updating the curtains, as far as I know, on the men's side. And so they're working on getting all those hung. So check with your dean on the men's side for sure, but on the women's side, all of ours are installed. And so there are blinds on all the women's sides.
It's a slow process.
Disrespect.
It's a slow process. They're expensive, as it turns out. Do you actually get paid when you work on campus, or does it go towards tuition? We did talk about that one a little bit earlier, and it's up to you. and you can get varying percentages of that. All right, 3 more questions, and then we're going to call it because that's all that's left. If you can believe it, we've answered 98 questions so far. We are rock stars. So, do the residence halls have a free movie portal?
I'm not sure what that means.
I do know what
No.
Okay.
It's like a space where they can. It's a drive. It's a drive, right? Like an online drive where they can just like open movies and it's like there.
Yeah, it's basically like a Netflix service for free for your residence halls. There's subscriptions and things for those. One's called Philo. No, we don't have that. Our internet does handle streaming though, so you're welcome to stream on whatever you can do on your computer. Like Amazon Prime. I think everyone gets like Amazon Prime here, so you can get your packages up here in like 2 days. So there you go. Do upperclassmen get their own room?
So the same rule applies for all of the years. It's the extra payment per quarter if you want your own room. So yeah, that's the answer to that. If you're an upperclassman, it's still the same thing. You still pay the extra for a single room.
All right, this is it. The last question.
Last question. I'm
I
ready.
know, it's been almost an hour and a half. This has been good. I really like this. And before we go, I'll just say, if you guys have any questions, feel free to email the deans or studentlife@puc.edu. Happy to answer any questions that we can. I'll put the main student life email here in the chat. All right, last question. Where do we put our stuff during summer vacation?
So if you're in state, we ask that you take your stuff with you. If you're out of state, it's kind of difficult. So we have space that we can store your stuff for the summer. We tag all your stuff. Well, you tag all your stuff. You take all your stuff down into the basement, and it stays there for the summer. But for our in-state students, we ask that you guys take your stuff with you home.
Yeah, and it's the same thing on the women's side. We have storage rooms in each of our buildings or storage areas. We give you labels. You label everything that you want to store, and then you move it yourself into those storage areas and neatly and appropriately store that, which we would go over before the end of the year of how to box things up and, to keep food out and all of those kinds of things. But yeah, we do have storage areas, but like Dean Hidalgo said, if you're in state and you can, we ask you to take all of your things with you. Sometimes we do have the ability to like store fridges or microwaves, big things that won't fit in your car. But other than that, we ask you to take all your stuff home if you're in state.
All right, that's it. Any parting shots before we go? Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna say that all of our dorms have social media accounts, especially on Instagram. So go and follow if you know what dorm you're going to be in already. Newton Hall, McReynolds Hall, Winning Hall, Andre Hall, Grange Hall. We all have social media accounts. We obviously I'm not in charge of all the other ones, but Newton Hall, we're going to be putting out more information for you guys and answering questions. So you can ask your questions in there. If we don't get back to you, you can follow me. You can go find me too. That's what some of you guys have done on Instagram. That's fine. Text me, email me if you guys have questions. Don't hesitate to ask, reach out, please, because we want to make sure that your transition from home into your new home is as easy and carefree as possible. So please reach out.
Yeah, for sure. Be kind to some of us that are not as Instagram savvy as some of the other deans on our staff, specifically Dean Hidalgo down there. I do post occasionally on Winning Instagram. I'm not as good. Usually my student dean takes over and does that, and she's not here right now. So, but feel free to contact through that. Email is the best to contact most of our deans, but you can reach us through those Instagrams if you prefer. And, but email, absolutely. Send us an email. We're happy to answer any other questions you come up with. So.
No, I follow some of our main Instagrams. PUC Student Life is a big one, and we share a lot of the content that a lot of these other accounts are putting out. And also PUC Now is our main institutional account. So, anything else, guys? I feel like we covered.
Welcome to the family, guys. Welcome to the family. We're excited to see you guys. Excited to meet you. Get ready for a wild ride. It's going to be a lot of fun.
No, Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Just want to let you guys know for recording of this, if you go to puc.edu/fusion workshops, that's where you guys signed up for all this stuff. The recording will be reposted there in perpetuity for, no, not forever, at least for like, you know, the next probably couple months. So watch it over and over and over again, all hour and a half. All right. Welcome to PUC family. Appreciate you guys. And we look forward to seeing you guys soon.
Bye, guys.